Inside our Beacon Hill studio, it is heavy hitter time, joined by Cosmo Macero of O'Neill & Associates, a man who has no problem with Barack Obama buying his wife a $30,000 ring.
Hey, I don't have that kind of scratch, but more power to him, you know.
Mrs. Macero has no problem with Cosmo having no problem with that.
Listen, my problem is that all over America, men are waking up to their wives looking at them saying, isn't that nice?
Good
what
line,
about us?
Good line, Kagis. Wait till I introduce you. Peter Kagis of the Boston Phoenix, a man who thinks John Kerry's job in the administration should be fetching that ring for Barack Obama. Gentlemen, let's get serious right off the top. Let's head to India. Let's talk about Mumbai, this nasty, outrageous terror attack over the Thanksgiving holidays. Cosmo, start with you. Is this the new face of terror? Rogue gangs of guerrillas taking out massive amounts of people?
Yeah, a couple things. I mean, these hit squads, this kind of tactic is very terrifying. I hope it's not the new face of terror around the globe. As far as what this means, I think going way back to the beginning of Operation Enduring Freedom, we've always felt that an unstable Pakistan, a Pakistan occupied in conflict with India, is very dangerous to our interests, to our ability to fight terror. And I think that's for America the most concerning thing right now is what that means. As far as the hit squads, don't want to see that happening anywhere else. A very terrifying way to
If the mission was to spread terror around the world, not only the amount of deaths and injuries, Peter, but stirring up the India-Pakistan thing again, which scares everybody because we got nukes on both sides.
Extremely serious situation. Listen, anyone who follows international affairs, might say, the average viewer might say, oh, the most tense place in the world is Israel and Pakistan. It's a very serious...
Israel and
Israel and the Palestinians. The situation between India and Pakistan is much more fraught with danger, because they both have nuclear power. But, millions of people have died there in the clashes. Look, this is a very problematic situation. The United States is fighting a war in Afghanistan that's spilling over into Pakistan to try to bring to heel the people who attacked 9/11. What sort of position are we in now to try to tell the Indian government to show restraint in dealing with Pakistan in terms of the terror? By the way, I am not advocating. The trouble or warfare in that area. I just bring up this uncomfortable fact to show just what a complicated situation Obama is inheriting.
Well, not only Obama, but who steps into the breach? Hillary Clinton, who yesterday is appointed Secretary of State. This has to be first and foremost on her plate, Cosmo, and is she up to the job?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to keep in mind the interests of the United States in the region, but really what the interests of those other countries are, India and Pakistan. That's a real challenge. It's going to be a huge challenge for her. She has, I think, a pretty solid standing on the world stage. I think it was a very interesting pick. I'm not as cynical to think that there was a tremendous political calculation in this, although there are political benefits to Obama. I think it's going to be very interesting. I think it's smart for him to have her in his administration in that role.
Listen, Hillary Clinton is as true a patriot as anyone in public life, and I think she will serve with distinction as Secretary of State. It shows that Obama has guts to have a strong person, a former opponent, to be in there. I watched this with interest. Personally, I think it was a good move. I think on the downside, something to keep in mind is that although as Secretary of State, she's not the person with her hands on the levers administering everything. Administration is not her strong point. We have to look back to both the health care debacle when she was First Lady and also the management of her campaign, which, again, she didn't do day to day, but she presided over. So while it's generally strong, there is a little negative there.
Either of you, by the way, biting on these rumors that are floating around now that Bill is going to take over her Senate seat?
It's too early for me to think about that. I don't know. I don't know where to go with that.
If he did, wouldn't it be great confirmation hearings? Bill grilling Hillary as to whether she's qualified.
Listen,
wouldn't he be the one ripping her?
I think it's a long shot. Although with the Clintons, sort of like the Kennedys, you can't rule anything out.
I think it's significant too that he this is an illustration of him willing to have someone who has been demonstrably a little more hawkish on the Iraq War than he has. And I think that tells you something about his approach.
And it does, and it also provides him good political cover by having someone more conservative than himself.
Mrs. Clinton, is it true your husband is a low-down, dirty dog who sleeps with hundreds of women? I answered the question. I mean, come on, this could be good.
Is that a Bill Clinton impression?
That was a very good Bill Clinton impression.
Couldn't pick up on it.
Oh, really? That's unfortunate. Can you pick up on this? The Boston Herald today. There's Matt Amarillo working at 7-Eleven or Blackie's Hot Dogs or
I think it's a burrito place.
Burger King or Taco Bell, you name it. We find out that the former head of the Big Dig, the former Mass Turnpike Authority chairman, has a little bit of debt. We find out during his divorce that they have $132,000 on a Capital One card. They're in arrears on their mortgage. They got a Target debt problem. What's your first take on this massive debt load of the Amarillos?
My first take is that, unfortunately, he is an illustration of the consumer society we live on, the fact that consumers are counted on to bail out the economy, and you hate to see anyone in trouble like that. You hate to see anyone have that kind of burden, especially when every one of us knows or is going to know people who are going to be out of a job coming at some point in the near future.
Listen, this is an example of a nasty divorce spilling over into the public pages. I think the guy was, rotten when he was a public servant. Now he's a private citizen. Let's leave him alone. Therefore, but for the grace of God, go many of us in terms of the public debt.
130 grand in credit card debt? Who's going there?
Hopefully not me, but
proportionally, all kinds of people are in different levels of trouble, and this is just an illustration of one case, and it's very unfortunate, and it's very scary.
Cosmo, you got some Christmas shopping to do. The wife wants a new ring. Peter, he's from the Boston Phoenix. Peter Cadges. We will see you boys next week.